Hello, everyone. You are watching Inside the Americas. Coming up, Joe Biden is promising to vaccinate almost all Americans by this fall. A look at the many delays and pitfalls he has to overcome first, though, on the way. Then a Philly what? Our reporters take a closer look at the confusing procedure used to delay or block action in the U.S. Senate. And 1 year after the untimely death of basketball legend Kobe Bryant, the pain of his loss is matched only by the legacy he left behind. I'm Jeannie Godula. The U.S. is the country worst hit by COVID-19. Americans make up 1 in 4 of the world's confirmed cases. U.S. President Joe Biden is working to lower that number by ramping up the heavily delayed delivery of vaccines. He says he wants 300 million Americans vaccinated by late summer or the fall.
In the US, there's no lack of vaccine doses, but getting them where they're needed is an immense logistical challenge. Since the start of the rollout on the 14th of December, nearly 20 million Americans have had the jab. That's just over 6% of the population.
The vaccine provides so much hope. The rollout has been a dismal failure thus far. So I understand the despair and frustration of so many Americans and how they're feeling. I understand why many governors, mayors, county officials, tribal leaders feel like they're left on their own without a clear national plan to get them through the crisis.
Several states have complained about disparities regarding distribution of the jab by the federal government.
We face a supply crisis right now in New York City. We are receiving about 100,000 doses every week in a city where 2.5 million people are eligible, and even that low number has been unstable and unreliable. We are so far behind the pace we need to be vaccinating at.
Even with an appointment, New Yorkers aren't certain to get the vaccine.
My appointment was cancelled. They told me to come back next week and to book another appointment online. How can an old person manage that? There's no vaccine.
Long queues are forming outside of vaccination centres, like this stadium in Los Angeles.
There was a 3 to 4 hour wait. So we came back this morning after talking to a fireman yesterday who said to come in the morning.
These young Californians aren't a priority to get the vaccine, so they've decided to camp outside to try to get leftover doses.
This vaccine is just going to end up in the trash. Like, what good does that do anyone? So if we're young enough and healthy enough to spend the night to come and get it, we might as well.
To speed up the vaccination program, 2 retail giants have offered their services to the White House. Amazon to help deliver the doses, and Walmart to open vaccination centres in its supermarkets.
Next, another bit of history has been made in the U.S. Just 1 week after Kamala Harris was inaugurated as America's first female VP, Janet Yellen became the country's first woman Treasury Secretary. She was sworn in by Vice President Harris outside of the East Wing entrance to the White House. Yellen is expected to play a key role in gaining congressional approval of Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package. That's been running into some stiff opposition from Republicans who say the price tag is just too high. Now, another vice president, Aaron Burr, is perhaps most famous for killing Alexander Hamilton in a duel, but he is also the inventor of the infamous filibuster. For those of you not specializing in U.S. politics, the filibuster is a legal procedure that gives the minority party in the Senate a chance to block legislature on the floor. And with the Democrats now holding the slightest majority in Congress, Republican senators wanted to make sure they'd still get a chance to use the filibuster if need be.
Once a rarely used political tool, the filibuster has almost become the norm in the United States Senate in recent years, with the minority using it to block major bills. A bill can be passed with a simple majority once it is voted on, but when members disagree on whether to put it to a vote, the minority can try to talk it down by filibustering. The delaying tactic is rooted in the US tradition of regarding the Senate, the higher chamber in Congress, as a place of unlimited debate.
Call it a filibuster, you can call it a
In 2010, Democrat Bernie Sanders filibustered for 8.5 hours over a proposed tax bill. 5 years later, Republican Rand Paul held the floor for 13 hours to try and block the Patriot Act. Passages of the Bible, cooking recipes, and children's bedtime stories have been read out in the past.
Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham.
A filibuster can only be broken when the Speaker stops talking or when 3/5 of the Senate's 100 members agreed to end the debate, a process known as cloture. Nowadays, legislation is often blocked simply by more than 40 senators opposing it without lengthy filibustering. The new US Senate is evenly split between Democrats and Republicans, with Vice President Kamala Harris holding a tie-breaking vote. From the outset, talks on how the chamber should work hit a stalemate as Republican leader Mitch McConnell demanded the filibuster be preserved and only agreed to a power-sharing arrangement after getting verbal reassurances from some Democrats that they would oppose scrapping the procedural tool.
The way we need to go forward in a 50-50 Senate is to have things that appeal to 60 votes on the legislative calendar.
The debate over the filibuster is far from over. Proponents see it as a way to ensure the minority has a voice. Opponents see it as outdated and obstructive. Democratic leader Chuck Schumer warned that the majority could use another tool to push through President Biden's coronavirus relief bill.
Time is of the essence to address this crisis. We're keeping all options open on the table, including using budget reconciliation.
Under the budget reconciliation process, bills on taxes, spending and debt can be fast-tracked and exempted from the filibuster.
There's some good news out of El Salvador, where the country's crime rate is plummeting. That is a rare sign of hope in a place that was once known as the murder capital of the world. More than 1 in every 1,000 Salvadorans was killed there in 2015, many due to gang warfare. The rate has been slowing steadily since then, but as Laurence Cuvillier and Mathieu Comin report now, the methods behind the drop are troubling.
Gang members handcuffed and put on display for the Salvadoran media. It's an image police want the public to see. El Salvador has recorded a drastic drop in homicides since young 39-year-old President Nayib Bukele took office in 2019. In downtown San Salvador, the capital, the atmosphere has indeed changed.
Pues específicamente en este año es que ha bajado bastante.
Que antes no se podía venir uno ni a sentar. Aquí era bien peligroso antes. Y mira hoy todo el mundo está en fiesta están.
The many gang clashes fueling El Salvador's endemic violence have dwindled in the past 2 years. But many are skeptical of this respite. Among them is Pastor Mario Vega, who is well known for his work with young delinquents.
En los barrios no ha ocurrido ninguna dinámica, ni de parte del Estado ni de parte de las pandillas en sí, sino que la baja en homicidios se debe a un acuerdo que hay entre el actual gobierno y la alta dirigencia de las pandillas.
But the secret is out. Carlos Martinez is an investigative journalist. He helped to make public 100 official documents, which proved very embarrassing for the government.
Estos documentos describen una serie completamente anómala de visitas de funcionarios de gobierno a la cárcel de máxima seguridad para sostener reuniones con líderes de la Mara Salvatrucha 13, que es la pandilla más grande de El Salvador.
They reveal how the government offered special favors to improve life in jail. In exchange, gang leaders have agreed to rein in their men and support the president's party in the upcoming legislative election. A pacted truce which could be broken at the first disagreement, unleashing more violence. Yet according to the head of the National Police, everything is under control.
En gobiernos anteriores han habido iniciativas de las treguas, de trabajar conjuntamente con los grupos criminales, pero en lo que es el liderazgo del señor presidente Nayib Bukele, yo doy fe que a mí en ningún momento me han dicho, mire, va a ir a trabajar con líderes de grupos criminales.
All the negotiations, truces, and secret deals show one thing. criminal gangs have managed to become key players in Salvadoran politics.
1 year ago this week, a helicopter crash in California killed basketball legend Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter Gianna. But as fans mark the anniversary by honoring their hero, an investigation into the reasons behind the crash is still underway. Ellen Gainsford reports.
Outside the arena where Kobe Bryant became a legend, a makeshift memorial honors the basketball star and his daughter Gianna. It's been a year since they died, but the memory is still fresh for these fans.
It's hard to accept it because whenever you turn on the Laker game, it just feels the same, like you're rooting for the team, like he's gonna pop up, walk in, or the camera's just gonna zoom in on any time. But the fact is that, you know, it's just we miss him, and the game misses dearly, the city misses him dearly, and he will always be remembered.
Tributes have also poured in from former teammates and colleagues.
We know Kobe, the basketball player. You know, we know the drive and competitive nature and the gifts and talent and, you know, the resume and all that stuff. The tragedy of Kobe passing is that he was an incredible father and was just starting to embark on that chapter of his life.
Bryant and his daughter had been on their way to a youth basketball tournament when their helicopter crashed in the foothills of the Santa Monica Mountains. 9 people died in the incident. Poor weather is believed to have been a factor, as there was thick fog on the day of the crash. Bryant's widow is pursuing a wrongful death lawsuit against the helicopter pilot's employer, alleging that the company wasn't authorized to fly under the conditions. An investigation by the National Transport Safety Board is set to deliver its findings on the 9th of February.
We'll leave you now with a last look at some of the many memes of U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders. A single photo of him sitting relaxed at the inauguration, his homemade striped mittens crossed in his lap, has been tweeted, Instagrammed, and just generally spammed around the world millions of times since then. The 79-year-old took his appearance in the strangest of pictures, all in stride, going on to sell sweatshirts and other merchandise and donating the proceeds to charity. The Bernie meme has popped up just about everywhere, even here at France 24. I'll let you try and find that one yourself. We'll see you next week for another Inside the Americas.
فاش تسوي شي وتشوف اسنانك عقب داخله تحط ايدك شي كلهن واضحه يطلع واضح يطلع فيديو جميل.
Sold at the click of a button, wild animals captured in Africa are highly prized by the mega-rich of the Persian Gulf. It's a booming market and a disaster for biodiversity. Even if the animals survive transportation, once domesticated, they can never return to the wild.
He's very kind of skittish and scared of any loud noise. It just startles him. So those are kind of the main issues. So you see that any noise, and it's just. So I think a lot of it is the mental trauma that he's been through as well.
From Somaliland to the Emirates, we look behind the scenes at trafficking on a major scale. Don't miss Reporters on France 24 and France24.com.